World War I, or also known as the Great War, lasted from 28 July 1914 to 11 November 1918. Hello and welcome to the Night School, the channel that will pass you the general knowledge that everyone should know. I'm Ms.Mutleva, and today you will learn or be reminded of the World War I. I'm just worried that I will not be able to use my humor in this video. You know, it's a serious one and I just can't make fun on this topic. Poor sadness is running through my veins just thinking how bad the World War I was. The war was fought between the Allied powers and the Central Powers. Main members of the Allied powers were France, Russia and Britain. The United States also fought on the side of the Allies after 1917. The main members of the Central Powers were Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, and Bulgaria. Over 65 million men volunteered or were conscripted to fight in mass citizen armies. You also should know that millions of civilians contributed to the war effort by working in industry, agriculture, etc., because victory depended on popular support. However, invading armies committed atrocities against civilians in the areas they occupied. Attacks on civilians became increasingly common as each nation tried to break their opponent's home morale. This makes me so angry, what we were thinking back then. The war was fought mainly on two fronts, the Western and Eastern Front. On the Western Front, Germany, with an aggressive military strategy known as Schlieffen Plan, invaded France through neutral Belgium. On August 4, 1914, German troops crossed the border into Belgium. In the First Battle of the World War I, the Germans assaulted the heavily fortified city of Liege using the most powerful weapons in their arsenal, enormous siege cannons, to capture the city by August 15. The Germans left death and destruction in their wake as they advanced through Belgium toward France, shooting civilians and executing a Belgian priest they had accused of inciting civilian resistance. In the First Battle of the Marne, fought from September 6 to 9, 1914, French and British forces confronted the invading German army, which had by then penetrated deep into northeastern France within 30 miles of Paris. The Allied troops checked the German advance and mounted a successful counterattack, driving the Germans back to north of the Aisne River. The defeat meant the end of German plans for a quick victory in France. Both sides dug into trenches, and the Western Front was the setting for a hellish war of attrition that would last more than 3 years. Particularly long and costly battles in this campaign were fought at Verdun, from February to December 1916, and the Battle of the Somme, from July to November 1916. German and French troops suffered close to 1 million casualties in the Battle of Verdun alone. Million casualties. Million! On the Eastern Front of World War I, Russian forces invaded the German-held regions of East Prussia and Poland, but were stopped short by German and Austrian forces at the Battle of Tannenberg in late August 1914. Despite that victory, Russia's assault had forced Germany to move 2 corps from the Western Front to Eastern, contributing to the German loss in the Battle of the Marne. Combined with the fierce Allied resistance in France, the ability of Russia's huge war machine to mobilize relatively quickly in the East ensured a longer, more grueling conflict instead of the quick victory Germany had hoped to win under the Schlieffen Plan. In 1915, Germany declared the waters surrounding the British Isles to be a war zone, and German U-boats sank several commercial and passenger vessels, including some US ships. Widespread protest over the sinking by U-boat of the British Ocean liner Lusitania, traveling from New York to Liverpool, England, with hundreds of American passengers on board, in May 1915, helped turn the tide of American public opinion against Germany. In February 1917, Congress passed a $250 million arms appropriations bill intended to make the United States ready for war. Germany sank 4 more US merchant ships the following month, and on April 2, Woodrow Wilson appeared before Congress and called for a declaration of war against Germany. With World War I having effectively settled into a stalemate in Europe, the Allies attempted to score a victory against the Ottoman Empire, which entered the conflict on the side of the Central Powers in late 1914. After a failed attack on the Dardanelles, the strait linking the Sea of Marmara with the Aegean, Allied forces led by Britain launched a large-scale land invasion of the Gallipoli Peninsula in April 1915. The invasion also proved a dismal failure, and in January 1916, Allied forces staged a full retreat from the shores of the peninsula after suffering 250,000 casualties. British-led forces also combated the Ottoman Turks in Egypt and Middle East, while in northern Italy, Austrian and Italian troops faced off in a series of 12 battles along the Isonzo River, located at the border between the two nations. By the fall of 1918, the Central Powers were unraveling on all fronts. Despite the Turkish victory at Gallipoli, later defeats by invading forces and an Arab revolt had combined to destroy the Ottoman economy and devastate its land, and the Turks signed a treaty with the Allies in late October 1918. Austria-Hungary, dissolving from within due to growing nationalist movements among its diverse population, reached an armistice on November 4th. Facing dwindling resources on the battlefield, discontent on the home front, and the surrender of its allies, Germany was finally forced to seek an armistice on November 11, 1918, ending World War I. The fighting ended on November 11, 1918, when a general armistice was agreed to by both sides. The war officially ended between Germany and the Allies with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, signed on June 28, 1919. World War I took the lives of more than 9 million soldiers, 21 million more were wounded. Civilian casualties caused indirectly by the war numbered close to 10 million. The two nations most affected were Germany and France, each of which sent some 80% of their male populations between the ages of 15 and 49 into battle. Sad. Really sad. I hope we learned something. If not, rewatch the video again. It's that easy. Until next time and the next lesson. Class dismissed.
Thank you for sticking up until the end of the lessons. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If not, write in comment section down below. I feel ready for arguing there. Also feel free to put some suggestions. For more lessons, hit that subscribe button and also hit that icon bell. I can wait, no worries. Come on, hit it.